and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a photo recap of my month of August 2024. If you've never seen one of my photo recap videos, essentially what I do is talk about my 5 favorite photos that I took in the last month. This month wasn't my busiest month of photography by far, but I did do some fun projects that I was very happy with, and I got some photos that I am excited to share with all of you. Before we take a dive into the top 5, we have to go take a look at the kitty corner and see what's going on over there. Delightful. And now let us take a look at my favorite photos that I took in August of 2024, starting with this. These photos were taken on Raleigh infrared with the Pentax K1000. So not long ago on the channel, I had made a video about shooting infrared film. I had an amazing time making it, even though it was pretty stressful because the whole time I was assuming that I was doing something wrong. But I got the results back after some tender love and care from my photo lab exposure therapy, and I gotta say I was thrilled with the results. These are two of my favorites because they both did a really great job of highlighting what infrared film can do to your images. And really looking at these without seeing the side-by-side comparison with the non-infrared passing filter versions of them, you might be wondering why the trees are so bright or why the sky is so dark. And I encourage everyone watching this video to go check out that video so that you could see the process, because the process was for sure daunting at first, but once you get going, it gets easier and easier. And I could definitely see myself shooting more infrared film in the future. I definitely want to try shooting some infrared film while doing portraits. That was something that I wanted to do for this test, but ultimately just ran out of time. So yeah, I picked both of these just because it was a pretty major part of my month. It was a project I was working on for a while, and it was a nice, healthy reminder that sometimes experimenting really does pay off in the long run. Because I discovered something here that I imagine I'm going to implement in the future and that really excites me. And that's one of the greatest things about film photography, that you can constantly be discovering new avenues to take your work. Whether it be film stocks or a new camera or a new format, the possibilities are damn near endless. And sometimes we need reminding of that because we shoot so much of the same stuff. We use the same 3 film stocks, or sometimes we shoot with the same camera over and over, and we can lose sight of the thrill of experimenting. So yeah, I absolutely love these 2 photos, and I love all of the photos that I got with infrared film. Please go ahead and watch that video if you haven't already. This photo was taken on Kodak Gold in the Pentax SBO 115G. So a few weeks into the month of August, my cousin got married to his longtime partner. That isn't his partner, that's actually his dad. So that's my uncle and my cousin in the photo. Just gotta clear that up right up top. And at the wedding, I was taking photos just personally. I had my Nikon FG, but I also brought this camera, which is the Pentax SBO 115G. It's a fun little underrated point and shoot that I picked up at a thrift store not that long ago. This photo was taken with that Pentax SBO, and I picked this one over the photos that I took with the Nikon for a few reasons, even though there were some great ones that I took with the Nikon, like this one that I'm going to show you right here. I picked this one just because I've been pretty outspoken about denying point and shoot cameras. I'm not always the biggest fan of them. I think I just prefer having more control than simply pointing and shooting. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, the Pentax SBO is the camera that converted me to a point and shoot shooter. But this photo was taken late in the night. We were all dancing on the dance floor. You've all been to weddings, you know how these things go. There wasn't a lot of light around, so I had to resort to using the Pentax with its built-in flash, and the photos that I got on the dance floor are some of my favorites from the entire wedding because you really get a sense of what it was like to be there on the dance floor and in the mix with all of these people. And I love this photo probably the most. So, like I said, the guy on the left is my uncle, who's my cousin's father, and seeing them together like this, capturing this moment, I think it's really special, and I think it's a photo that I hope both of them cherish for a long time. It puts into perspective something about their relationship, just seeing them side by side like this. It's both funny and charming and exciting and really gives you the feeling of being there, and that's something that I wouldn't have been able to get with the Nikon unless I had some sort of off-camera flash attached to it. But even then, being able to let the camera do the work for you is a bit of a blessing in moments like this where you don't want to be fiddling with your exposure or your camera settings. Maybe one of these days I'll do a video on the Pentax SBO 115G because it's a pretty nifty little point and shoot that I've never heard anyone talk about, and I think more people should know about it. This photo was taken on an expired Kodak Portra 160NC in the Ricoh XR2. So I almost didn't get this rollback to include any of the photos from it on this list, and frankly, if I didn't, I wouldn't have had very much to talk about because, like I said, I didn't shoot a whole lot this month. So this roll of expired Portra was interesting. For starters, it traveled quite a bit with me. I initially started shooting it out in Virginia while I was on a job, and then I came back to Brooklyn. I shot a few photos in Brooklyn, and then I went to Texas with this camera and this roll of film, and then I went back to Brooklyn to finish off the roll, and that's where I got this. It wasn't a roll full of bangers or anything like that, but I did get a few photos that I'm happy with, including this one. Now, the composition isn't really anything to write home about, although we do have this bit of a frame within a frame that the sign is placed within, so immediately our eyes are drawn to the sign because of that. But also we're drawn to it because of the stark contrast between the colors outside of the sign and the colors of the typeface. It really draws your eye in a way that I'm sure was intentional for whoever was designing this bittersweet sign. I think there's this notion in photography, and something I find myself doing more often than not, that you could just take photos of interesting things and the photos will become interesting. I think that my aim is to work the other way around, to find uninteresting things and make them interesting, or to fabricate the interest entirely on my own, whether that be through manipulation of the subjects or through composition or lighting, any number of these things. But here we have a sign with a unique typeface and unique lettering and really bold colors, so most of my job was done for me in a sense. And the sun was setting just at the right time, just at the right angle, that it was illuminating the sign, and there's this little bit of shadow going across it, so I don't know, in general, this photo just kind of hits the sweet spot. This photo was taken on expired Kodak Portra 160NC in the Ricoh XR2. So this was on the same roll as that last photo, and it goes back to what I was just saying a minute ago about taking photos of interesting things, and oftentimes when it comes to my photography, it has to do with taking photos of things that are existing somewhere outside of where you would assume they would exist. And that's just a fancy way of saying when things are out of place. So this gas tank has been on top of this fence for a long time. I've passed by it for a very long time, and for whatever reason, on this day, I actually decided to take a photo of it. And I think what I got was something almost sort of reverent. And what I mean by that is that looking up at this gas can almost evokes this feeling of praise, like it's put on some sort of pedestal, like it's mounted to be worshipped or something. I don't know. I think that's reading too far into a photo like this, which at the end of the day was a photo that I took because it was kind of funny and out of place. But whenever I try to ascribe meaning to something that might be as mundane as this photo appears, I always try to challenge myself to do so. Outside of all that, I think that the composition and the contrast between the red of the gas tank and the blue of the sky is very striking. I've said many times on this channel that when shooting color photography, color should absolutely maybe be the first thing that you look for, and it certainly is the first thing that I look for, and especially being able to contrast certain colors with others, that's just generally what I'm attempting to do. Whenever I do any color photography, I like bold colors, and I like when they clash. This photo was taken on expired Kodak Portra 160NC in the Ricoh XR2. Okay, so you'll have to excuse this photo. I know that it's crude and probably a little off-putting, and you're probably wondering why I'm including it on this list. And I think I'm including it on this list as a means of celebrating the city that I live in some weird way. This was at the Clinton, Washington G train station as I was leaving the station, and I saw this drawn on the mirror, and I really couldn't help myself but take a photo of it. I think sometimes for me, my photography can get kind of self-serious, or I could put too much thought into it, and in the past, I've definitely struggled with the whole, like, should I take this photo? Should I not take this photo? And sometimes you just have to relinquish yourself and allow yourself to take the photo. You have to just allow yourself to experience joy and silliness, if even for a brief period of time. So I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't find this drawing on this mirror funny and it didn't put a smile on my face. But I will say that I considered not taking a photo of it, but then I talked myself into it, and when I got the scan back, I was able to relive that joy and silliness that I felt the first time that I saw it. So many film photography channels like this one can get a little bogged down with the artistry of it all that oftentimes we can forget that we're all just humans existing, walking around, breathing, eating, laughing, sleeping, going to the bathroom. We all have baggage, we all have fears and anxieties and wants and desires, both sexual or otherwise. And so by not taking a photo of this penis drawing on this mirror, I feel like I'd be ignoring a pretty crucial part of the human experience. And yeah, saying that out loud sounds strange, but it also sounds oddly comforting to know that life is going on outside of this thing that we call art. Sometimes photography is about the art and the craft, but other times it's about documenting humanity. And I can't think of any better way to document humanity than to photograph Sir Poppycock doodled on a mirror in a subway station in New York City. So that's going to do it for my photo recap of my month of August 2024. It was a pretty slow month for me photography-wise, as I mentioned several times. I was very busy with a lot of life stuff, a lot of work stuff got in the way, and I'm hoping that September can offer me more time to take some more photos, to work on some more projects for this channel, and I'm trying to get better at creating a schedule when it comes to things that I'm trying to make for this channel, rather than just have a list of a bunch of random ideas that I could possibly do. I'm trying to really narrow it down week by week, what it is that I want to do, what I want to talk about, what I want to showcase, whatever. And I want to give a thank you to any new subscribers who have found their way to this channel. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate the word getting spread around. I think that more and more people are discovering this channel every single day, and it's awesome, and I'm excited to see where this all goes from here. So if you happen to stumble across this video and you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos are released. You can help support this channel by finding that join button, and for a few bucks a month, you can help this channel grow into the future. You could also help support me personally by going to my print shop. Consider buying a print. They are great quality from darkroom.com. And one more thing to plug, please check out this video I made about a novel that I wrote that I self-published a few months back, and maybe consider buying a copy. It would really mean the world to me. So that's going to do it for August 2024. I can't wait for September. I've got some big things planned, and I'm going to end this video with a bunch of photos from August that I didn't show already, and I'll see you all next time.